Okay.
Welcome to the virtual reading fair day 15 evening session. My name's Rich and I'm 6 years old and I'm going to the first grade.
Thank you, Harry. And I'm
Hello, Harry.
I'm Meredith McGee, Jackson, Mississippi.
Vicki Jenkins, co-chair of the Community Library of Mississippi.
My name is Talianne Hines, and I'm 9 years old, and I'm going to the 3rd grade.
Hello, Tanya.
My name is Charlotte Meredith. I'm listening.
Thank you for visiting.
Hey,
Okay.
Charlotte.
Okay, Richard.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I was just going to let you introduce yourself. We just started.
Oh, I'm Richard Hulse. I live in California, and next month I'll be 73 years old.
Wow.
Happy birthday.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Birthday.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, Lynette.
I'm Lynette Stafford, Greenville, Mississippi.
Okay. All right. So Talianne is going first. Let's read.
Children's favorite stories and songs.
Hold it up there. Let me type it in the chat for everybody. What is it now?
Children's favorite stories and songs.
Hey, Dennis, how you doing? Okay, I got it in, typed in. Hello, Janice. Talianne is getting ready to read.
The Cat and the Filler. Hey, Dilly Dilly, the cat and the filler. The cat jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see much sport, and the dish ran away with the spoon. There was an old lady. There was an old lady who lived in the shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some protein and sweet bran gingerbread and kissed each one of them softly and put them into bed.
Okay.
The Lion and the Mouse. One day, Little Mouse was walking through the trail when a hungry lion snatched him up by the tail. Well, said the lion. What did I see? Could it be my lunch delivered to me? Oh, my, said Mousy. Hear me today. Don't eat me, Mr. Lion. There's a much better way. Assure me. Spare me. I begin you. Spare me, please do. And one day I promise I will come rescue you. I know it's a teensy-bitty and not very strong, but you never know what trouble might come along. But so if you would spare me, I promise to cross my heart to come to rescue you if trouble should start. Ha ha ha, said the lion. Little you, help big me. What could you do? What will it be? Lunch says much better, but thanks for the thought. You then suddenly it happened. Mr. Lion was catch. Help, cried the lion from inside a net. Don't worry, said Mousy. It's not over yet. My teeth are like a razor made of checkers. It bites through this rope in a minute or two. Cheesy, little Mousy. In this rope I am bouncy. Then Mousy broke through and Lion fell to the ground. You did it, cried Mr. Lion. You did indeed. Little old you say, big me, old me. Now Mr. Lion and Mousy were so glad they met. They both learned a lesson they will never forget. No matter how big, no matter how small, we all need a friend. No one will call. The ant and the grasshopper. Huh?
Okay, Charlie. The lion's lunch was interrupted, huh? And he gave him a new plate.
You were really it's so expressive, so exciting.
Thank you.
Very good presentation.
Was it all?
Very expressive, very expressive.
Didn't know what to do.
Yes. Yeah, he was sitting up. I know you were being good. You called Harry.
Great job, baby girl.
Thank you.
Good job, baby girl.
Well, Harry, you want to ask a question?
I don't have a question.
Okay, then. All right, so that was a good story. Who wants to go next? You're not with us, Harry. You gonna go next?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Did you want to read, Harry, or you gonna take us out?
I don't have a book to read.
Okay. All right, I'm going to read part 2 of Night Golf by William Miller, illustrated by Cedric Lucas. I did look up African Americans in golf, and it's just so much that I present tomorrow afternoon after I read the third part. It's a lot.
Okay.
All right, well, remember, James, he's a little fella, and he can't play basketball, and he can't play football, but he found an old rusty golf club and ball, and he liked that, so he decided he wanted to be a cat. Well, he really wanted to play, but you had to get your foot in however you can. Okay. So James spent the rest of the morning waiting for his first round as a cat. At last, a tall man walked up to him carrying 2 sets of clubs. I'm Charlie, he said with a cold smile. I've been a caddy for 20 years now. I hear you want to be one too. James didn't get a chance to speak. Charlie loaded a heavy bag on his back and then walked off towards the first tee. This is where we left off this morning. I love these pictures. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
Two men dressed in green sweaters were waiting for them. Charlie handed one a driver, and James did the same. Son, I've got 10 drivers and can't hit one of them. Give me a 3-wood or go home. Both golfers laughed, and Charlie laughed too. James felt like a fool. Neither man played very well. They spent more time in person than lining up their shots. James spent most of the round looking for golf balls in the pine needles and underbrush. Charlie watched him out of the corner of his eye, and once he even winked. So he was encouraging this young man. But as the sun climbed higher into the sky, James began to notice how the course was laid out. He memorized sand bunkers and water hazards. He played the golfing shot in his mind. James knew that golf was his game, and he wanted to prove it by playing. What difference did the color of his skin make? Think you still want to be a caddy? Charlie pulled the bottle on the cooler. The round was over, and James was covered with sweat. His head ached from standing in the sun so long. I never wanted to be a caddy, James said, too tired to catch her. I want to play, not watch other people play. Charlie chuckled softly. You remind me of someone else. You remind me of a kid who came out here a long time ago. He was a farm boy who hated to plow. His folks moved to town, and his daddy helped build this golf course. He played golf just like you, so bad he could taste it. What happened to him, James asked. You're looking at him, Charlie said with a sad smile. James felt sick inside. He felt sorry for the older man, but he also felt sorry for himself. When he's only a caddy in 20 years, you never get to play, do you, James asked Charlie. I never said that, did I? He had a funny look in his eye. No, sir, I never did say that. Where do you play then? Out in the field, a pasture? Where? Pastures are for cows, my boy. I play right here on this beautiful golf. Charlie looked at him for the second time that day. James was really confused. Everyone was teasing him, making him feel like a silly kid. I'm going home now, he said. I had enough of this place. Too bad, said Charlie. I plan on getting in 9 holes myself. Then he leaned forward and whispered in James' ear, you come back tonight when the moon is up. I'll leave the side gate open for you. James was sure Charlie was joking. That somehow, oh, I'm sorry. James was sure Charlie was joking, that somehow a trick was being played on him, but he came back that night. He just couldn't stand it. The clubhouse and the course were dark. The only light was the moon slowly climbing the night sky. James felt like a thief, but the side gate was open, just like Charlie said it would be. Have you lost or something? A deep voice asked from the shadows. James almost ran, ready to give up golf if it kept him out of jail. Charlie stepped into the moonlight. A sword swung over his shoulder. It's time to play golf, he said proudly. Not watch. Charlie teed up on the first hole. Before James had time to say a word, Charlie put the ball down the dark fairway. Together they through the shadows. James heard an owl's weird cry, saw what might have been a rabbit run across their path. What's that? Charlie asked, pointing to the ground. I don't see a thing, James said, telling the truth. Look closely, son, if you want to learn this game, Charlie insisted. James stared at the dark ground, the faint moonlight helping him see the outline of a small rock. Charlie pulled a club from his bag and swung smoothly in the moonlight. The rock was a ball, and James saw it glitter before it fell on the far-off green. How you do that, James asked. How you know where the ball landed the first time? Can you see in the dark or something? Tell me. Hold on now, you've got a lot to learn, and I plan on teaching you everything. And Charlie taught him well. For the rest of the summer, James came back to the course, the moonlight, and the straightest game of golf ever played. He learned to play by feel to shut out everything except the club and the ball. But the sun came up. James was still a caddy. His skin was still the wrong color. He would never play golf in the daylight, or so it seemed. All right, part 3 of 3 tomorrow.
Okay, so now
I sent a picture. I sent a picture of the cover of the book to my brother and sister. They play golf, and I told them I will share this book with them when I see them again. They live your way, Meredith.
okay, and look, but this book is about a real black golfer who became famous.
This book is about, it's about how black men could not play, well, black people could not play golf. So the only way they could play golf was if they came out on the golf course at night. They couldn't play it during the day because remember the man said it was a rich white man's game.
Okay.
So they were caddies, but they're still making a way to do what it is they want to do.
And you know, actually, that's the first time that I ever heard a story like that of them going to play golf at night. That's amazing to me.
Well, me too.
Like that here.
So it had to be a lighted course. Was it a lighted course so that they can play?
No, they played by moon. They played by moonlight.
Okay. So is this one of the books? Is this one of the books you found in your box? Your discarded box?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
The library was getting rid of me.
I told my sister. No, what happened was I picked them up and I put them. You know, you put them away, and I forgot about them. So I told my sister it was like Christmas when I found the books. I got excited. I said it was just like Christmas. I found new books.
Okay. Okay.
And Mary had her moments with Mary today. And when you doing it again, so we can come, because we didn't participate. It was on like Facebook Live.
Yeah, again on Friday.
Okay, she does it again on Friday
at 2 o'clock.
2 p.m. So let's support if we're on Facebook on Friday and make a point of it. And Mary,
I made it.
You did. I saw it there.
Okay, well, wonderful. You
try to go. I do try to go.
Okay.
Well, if I can't make it at that time, I try to catch up. You know, because sometimes if it comes on at 2 o'clock and I try to make it, but if I can't, then I just go back and pick it up later.
Yeah, I do too. I go back and listen to. Well, Mary, I wanted to introduce you and Janice to Richard Hurst. He's gonna be one of the speakers in our speaker series.
Okay.
He's on Facebook too. Maybe y'all can make a connection.
How are you?
Okay. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Oh, hello. Good.
Good. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Same here.
Oh, Mary, you ready to read?
Well, I can read what I read this morning. Well, I have another piece. I have a short piece. I don't think I've read this. About Mississippi. Mississippi has a special place in my heart. From Mississippi, I will never part. My grandmother telling tales of long ago while she sat by the fireside to sew. Soft sounds of southern accents fill the room. The smell of fresh magnolias are in bloom. In our Bible Belt church, bell rings. All the old hymns we still sing. The smell of cornbread fills the air while we look forward to the Mississippi State Fair. In Mississippi, my Mississippi, my home state, I say it's never second rate. In my book, it's great. Mississippi.
Very good.
Well, Mr. State Fair, we've taken trade to the fair 2 years in a row, and so this would have been the 3rd year, but we're going to miss it this year.
Yeah, I think everybody gonna miss it.
It was always a treat for us growing up. But I haven't been in years.
Oh, yeah.
Who did you say the author is of the book? Who is the author of that?
That poem, it just says, it says Cynthia Post Meridian. So maybe that's the name of the paper in Meridian.
Oh, okay.
This was one of my mother's pieces. Out of that box, we had all those poems.
Okay.
This is it. This is
You
it.
need to publish a collection, Mary.
Uh,
You need you need to call it my mother's. You need to call it my mother's collection.
I don't know. My next book, maybe I'll do something
Yeah.
with those.
Well, she had to get permission to publish by all the poets, the people who own the rights to those poems.
Yeah, these are just
Yeah, that's
some that
true. That's true.
it looks like some of them she just took from the newspaper. Because this looks like a tear from the paper. I just copied it.
Well, that's wonderful. Okay, so
Mary.
well, I'll read a few paragraphs of C.T. Vivian. Y'all see that? He's one of the famous civil rights icons that died within days of each other. John Lewis, Reverend C.T. Vivian, James Charles Gerard, brother Meg Evans, and then Emma Sanders, is that her name? She died too. So here we go. Reverend Vivian was active in sit-in protests in Peoria, Illinois in the 1940s. Wow. And met King during the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott, a demonstration spurred by Rosa Parks' refusal to give up her seat to a white rider. The 13-month mass protest drew international attention. Reverend Vivian went on to become an active early member of the group that eventually became Southern Christian Leadership Conference, according to his biography. Like King, Vivian was committed to the belief that nonviolent protests could carry the day. Some thoughts on the Reverend C. Vivian, pioneer who pulled America closer to our founding ideals, and a friend I will miss greatly, former President Barack Obama wrote in a statement. We've lost a founder of modern America, pioneer who struck the gap between reality and our constitutional ideals of equality and freedom. And by 65, Reverend Vivian had become the director of the national affiliates for the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, when he led a group of people registered to vote in Selma, Alabama, and that would be the whole Bloody Sunday bridge incident, and the same bridge that Lewis's body was just driven over by carriage a few days ago. I was just gonna read one paragraph because this is a Mississippi man, and that's he was I guess in Georgia, Alabama. Have no fear. Charles Everett story. He was 97 when he passed. I'm just gonna read this is chapter 9. I'm just gonna read a paragraph. The year 1955 was a terrible one for the Mississippi Negro. When we tried to free ourselves by getting the vote, whites threatened us, beat, and killed us in counties all over the state. And for a white America's white folks didn't seem to care. In Humphreys County, each white employee got a voter list. If one of his Negroes was on it, say, get off the list or get off my payroll. Those who stayed registered got a personal call from a white man. You've been in this town a long time. Want to stay here? Get your name off that list. He threatened violence. Soon we were down to 35 registered voters in Humphreys County. In Belzoni, the Humphreys County seat, Reverend George Lee, town's NAACP president, signed up for 400 more Negro voters. Whites in town growled at him to get those names off the voting roll. He refused. Whites bullied Negroes to the total Negro registered 92 by May 1955. On May 7th, Reverend Lee walked out of the tailor shop with his Sunday preaching suit, and someone shot out the whole bottom of his face. The biggest Negro in Belzoni, brutally murdered downtown in broad daylight. We hoped this killing would shock the nation, but nothing happened. Cops made no arrests, didn't even investigate. And I didn't learn about Reverend George Lee until about 8 or 9 years ago. He was really a pioneer in the NAACP. But I'm gonna stop right there. You can see this book right here. A lot of information there. I just turned to a page. I didn't know that was gonna come up. Thailand, did you hear that? You got it? Have you ever heard of Meg Evans and Charles Evans? I'm Bishop. Have you ever heard of Meg Evans and Charles Evans?
No.
Have you ever went to the Meg Evans library on Meg Evans?
I do have a Mecca Edwards library card though.
Well, you have heard of Meg Evans because Meg Evans was one of our greatest heroes in terms of fighting for our civil rights. And you go to the library that is named for him. So you have heard of, you just hadn't put him in context of the things that he did and his brother did and how life may have been 50 years ago. But, you know, as you keep reading, you'll learn more about the street that you drive up, Medgar Evers Boulevard. And they're finna do some renovation to it. Okay, so any other comments or questions? And if not, who's reading next? Hey, Ray,
You said Reverend Jordan.
Sam, what'd you say, Lynette?
You said Reverend Jordan. You said Reverend Jordan.
No, Reverend George Lee. There's a museum here, remember, in Belzoni? The Fannie Lou Hamer, Reverend George Lou. In fact, that's the first civil rights museum in our state. It's in Belzoni, there on Highway 49. One of them is named.
Okay, I'm sorry. Tell me his name again.
Reverend George Lee.
That's what I thought. This was at the African American Museum in Washington, D.C.
Oh yeah, what is that?
That's they had like I went over, they had like a Delta corner or something with like Greenfield. And I went over there because my daughter-in-law's grandmother was featured in there. So I went to look. So they had so her picture was not there, but they had a corner part with that. And you said Lee, and I said, wait a minute, now I think that's that gentleman's name, and there it is. That was the part of the exhibit.
Oh, that's nice.
It said Reverend George W. Lee, leader of the local NAACP branch in Belzona, Mississippi, was assassinated by an unidentified assailant on May 7, 1955. He had been working to register black voters. H.C. Anderson drove nearly 50 miles from here to service and the funeral. Calling it the most fearsome night of his life, Anderson said the experience forever altered his understanding of the relationship between photography and political action. H.C. Anderson was a photographer in Greenville. So he documented. He's H.C. Anderson, a photographer from Greenville. So he went and documented it.
And Reverend George Lee's he was the first person whose spirit showed the brutality of some whites on blacks. His face was like imitation. But his funeral there were so many people at his funeral in the NAACP from all over the South and the country. In fact, the one center that y'all had in Detroit was they had to hold his funeral outside. They had the whole Reverend George Lee's funeral outside, and I did a little bit of information on him on the book I wrote on the biography I wrote on my uncle. Yeah, but hello, I'm Millie. How are you? Thank you for stopping in. Okay, so I tell you, man, I'm gonna miss all these sessions. We got 2 days now. I've been learning so much. So who's next?
I will take up where I left off in terms of looking back at Osceola Mccarty and her book.
Okay.
Simple Wisdom for Rich Living. I had read a portion of the book on work, and I want to continue what she was saying about on work. I don't believe in retirement. If I were able, I would still be working today. Work is a blessing. As long as I am living, I want to be working at something. Just because I am old doesn't mean I can't work. I have never felt helpless. I always knew that thanks to my health and strength, I could do for myself and make a way. Give me some work to do, and I can make it. We are responsible for the way we use our time on this earth. So I try to be a good steward. I start each day on my knees, saying the Lord's Prayer. Then I get busy about my work. I get to cleaning or washing. I find that my life and my work are increasing all the time. I am blessed beyond what I hoped. Every now and then, we would get tired of the routine of washing clothes, so we would sing or tell stories. Sometimes we went to the soda fountain or to a movie for entertainment. The change of pace always did me good. This is a picture of Osceola Mccarty as a young woman and some of her friends and family. Where my finger is, that's Osceola Mccarty during a younger day. For those who may not be familiar with her book, Simple Wisdom, Osceola Mccarty was the laundress there in Hattiesburg who donated half of her earnings to USM for disadvantaged African Americans to go to school. Over time, around 2014, there were 500 or 600 donors. So they added to the amount that she had contributed to the school. And around that time, it came to around $700,000. I don't know what the value of the scholarships might be for 2020, but 2014, that was what that was about. So people embraced Osceola Mccarty's efforts. This lady died at the age of 91. She was born in 1908. She started working with her family business, her aunt and the grandmother, when she was 8 years old. She was not able to go back to school because the aunt got sick. And so she had to continue the business. She wanted to get an education, continue the education, and even go to college. But time did not permit her to do it because she had the duty to her family, to take care of her family. But she became famous because of her donation to USM. And she received lots of honors, lots of honors. So that is, in a nutshell, the story of Osceola Mccarty. From the morning session, I was not able to find anything about the amount of money she made per customer. But the articles I read, there were about 7 or 8 before coming back for the 2 o'clock, the 2:15 session, mentioned her donation to the school and the rewards that she had received as a result of that. And I think it was about 400 in that figure, 400 students who had come to USM around 214 that time, who had benefited through scholarships. So now students can receive a full scholarship because of the donations that keep coming in honor of Osceola Mccarty. One day, I'm going to be rich like this. It might not be money, but there will be a legacy.
Claim it, sister. Claim it, sister.
I might be too far gone to catch up with her, but there will be something. A student is going to say something about me.
Well, yesterday you said that that she, you know, she was a maid, but she saved her money, and a banker helped her invest it, and her investment came up to over $250,000 before she made her a contribution to USM, which I thought that's amazing because she described in her book people walking past her like she was nobody important. But here she was, a larger woman, sacrificed to save half of her salary and ended up with $250,000 over her lifetime and donated it to a college for other kids to get a scholarship to college. And the gift is steady giving because people continue to serve. And you said that over 400 students have benefited from something that an ordinary, no-wage person gave by saving of her life. And I thought, I'm just still amazed at that.
Yes, excuse me, it's very amazing. And the other half of the money she gave to a few of her relatives, an uncle and somebody else. She just was an everyday person who did not put emphasis on materialistic values, didn't even have a car, never had a car, but she was blessed to be able to get about. Must have been a very friendly person. And then when you think about the time period in which she was coming up, that had to be pretty rough. You couldn't do this, you couldn't do that. You're an African American and you got to stay in your place, whatever. There was something in the writing that talked about the coins. It did mention that she had earned coins, but it did not mention how much she had earned being a laundress from each person who had come to her. Just a few coins, that type of thing. And I thought about when I read that, I would have people sometimes to come to do something for me, workers, and I would ask them from the old school, well, how much will you charge me? Whatever you give me. So I don't know if it was like that or if you have experienced something like that when the people, every once in a while, somebody's going to say, whatever you give me, coming from that school of thought, but some kind of way they continue to be blessed. And I'm assuming that that may have been her case, but coming up through a family business where they were, I guess, off to themselves and just trying to make ends meet. It's a mystery that there's nothing in the writing thus far that I have found that mentions the amount that they received from the customers. That's really very, very interesting. But this is a great book. And I'm excited about it because on tomorrow, I want to share with you what she says in her chapter about
on saving money.
On saving money.
Okay.
When I heard her speak at Jackson State about that, I was really blown away when she came and shared her book and had her agent there with her. This is the card with her signature, and I have kept it all these years. I think that may have been during the mid 80s, something like that, when she came along. But anyway, it was right after this book was published, whatever that date is, may have been 94. But this is a great book. It's a great teacher. And so for those of us who are perhaps just going through life and we don't take anything serious enough to think about a rainy day or whatever, this is a book that will knock our socks off. Looking at this woman, a humble human being, and what she did, not trying to wrestle with anybody, just enjoying the work of a laundress and enjoying her family. And a huge responsibility as a child to take up when the relatives die. I've got to come out of school. I'm 8 years old when I start out working with my family. Now here, 8 years later, I have all this responsibility. And look at what she did. Look at what she did.
Yeah.
She never married anybody. And before I take up all the time, the research did say that her mother was raped. She was an only child. Her mother was raped by somebody in the woods. And the relatives would take her to see her mother wherever her mother was at some kind of facility. And then over time, she ended up with relatives there. I think the mother and some of the others in Hattiesburg. It's just a profound insight. I guess that's how I would say it, a profound insight. Osceola Mccarty.
Well, thank you for that story. Any other comments on who was going to be our last reader?
Hey, she took care of people all her life.
Yes.
Yes, I'm looking at that
And
as her
beyond.
calling.
And beyond.
You know how we talk about your
Right.
calling? That had to be her calling. And never having
Well,
a car to
she
get
took
her
care of
out.
people.
All her
Yeah.
She
life.
took care of people all her life, and she's still taking care of people, because guess what? Those graduates are going to pass on something to somebody else.
Yes, that's right. So her legacy continues.
Yeah, she gave
Yes.
out 400 people have received scholarships since she started, because the endowment is steady being funded by other people who are inspired to keep it going, because a larger woman started a fund to give other people college education, so people are steady contributing to it. Yeah, that's amazing. It's
Yes,
inspiring.
it's remarkable. It's like unbelievable. But I
Yes.
saw her in person.
Okay, so who's gonna read next? I think we only have maybe 2 people that haven't read. Are you reading Vicky today, or are you gonna read in the morning? Oh, I gotta get on me. Are you reading today, or are you gonna read in the morning, Vicky?
In the morning.
Yeah, okay. So, Harry, are you coming back to read? Harry? Okay. All right, Harry, you our last reader. Are you reading today?
No, ma'am, I have not a book.
You're having the book?
No, ma'am. I
Man,
forgot to look for a book. I forgot. I could go look for a book now.
Okay, well, hurry up.
Well, he did so good this morning with Noah and the ark.
Yes, he did.
I was saying he did very good this morning. He read all of it in detail. It was really good.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I think he done read about 28, 29 books since we've been doing this.
That's wonderful.
We'll finish World War II in the morning.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm gonna read a little more about Vivian and I'm gonna go back to the sheet by Friday.
Well, Richard, what you think?
Huh?
I was asking Richard what he thought.
Oh, she said, "Want to know what you thought about our reading session?" Richard.
Well, my grandson, on Facebook a while back, just after Christmas, he read on Facebook a Christmas story. And as the young lady was reading her story, it reminded much of my grandson when he read the piece on Facebook. And the thing that I like about the way the young lady read her story is she did show the pictures, which are key to many children's books and even adult book for that matter. Depends on what kind of book you're reading, I guess, but artwork and pictures to help to make the story more interesting and meaningful. And my, like I said, my grandson read that thing on Facebook, and I got a lot of reaction from my friends relative to his reading. And I like my grandkids all the time too when they come over to visit me. And if even at their house, I read over there as well. So this has been a very interesting, productive afternoon for me, especially.
Thank you.
So good. So,
How old is your
Okay.
grandbaby?
What's that?
No.
How old is your grandbaby?
He's 10.
Okay.
Yeah, he's-
Okay, good.
Yeah. Well, tell me to come read with us tomorrow evening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tell me to come read with us tomorrow evening. Okay, so Harry, you better take us out of here.
Yes, ma'am. Stand pat.
Stand, what now?
Pat. Stand pat.
Oh, I got you.
Stan was getting ready for a trip. Here is Stan's pack. Stan packs his trumpet. Stan packs trumpet and his drum. Pack a trumpet, his drum, and a band-aid for his thumb. Stan packs his stamps. Stan packs. He packs his stamps and his blocks. Stuff things into a box. He packed his shell. He packed his sails and his ship. Now, Stan was ready for his trip. Suddenly, we stopped him before he goes. Stan, go check. You need your clothes. The end. 84 words.
Okay. Wow. So, Harry, just give us a summary of the book before you close the meeting up.
He was going on a trip. He packed his trumpet. He packed his drums. He packed the bandage for his thumb. He packed his stamps. He packed his blocks. He stuffed them into a box. He packed the shell. He packed his shells and his ship. And then the story says, now Stan is ready. Suddenly, we stopped him before he goes. He forgot his clothes. He packed everything else but his clothes.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. Very good. Okay. So you we'll be reading in the morning at 11. If you can jump on in the morning. And Harry, you want to end the meeting?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for attending this Zoom. I hope you can attend The next meeting tomorrow at 11. Thank you for attending this Zoom.
Thank you. All right, we'll see you guys
Thank
later.
you.
Y'all have a wonderful
You all see y'all
afternoon.
tomorrow.
I see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
All right,
Thanks
bye-bye.
for coming, Millie.
All right. Okay.
Come join us again, Richard.